fact is that now we're facing two existential crises: climate and democracy. And we can't have a stable climate unless we have a stable democracy. And you can't have a stable democracy unless you have a stable climate. They're interrelated, and they have to be solved together.
Hanoi Jane making a comeback with Christiane Amanpour on one of her multi-million-dollar left-wing propaganda jobs, either CNN or PBS or whatever. We're paying her or we're not. But that's Hanoi Jane. She knows that the Democrats have to be in charge so that the weather is good and there will be no hurricanes and no floods. And because the Democrats have delusions of grandeur, I think might be one generous way of describing it. Hanoi Jane. You know, she fits in better and better with the Democrat Party, gang of communists that they are. The Commie Mamdani has more clear running room in New York City now that the Democrat Mayor Eric Adams has dropped out of the mayoral contest. So the Democrats are the Communist Party of the United States of America in 2025. Hanoi Jane, two crises, existential crises. One is the weather. Weather's kooky. It's been a very nice summer and early fall, really nice in Washington, D.C. I was in Chicago, Illinois over the weekend. The weather was perfect. It was beautiful, just wonderful. If Chicago could have weather like that all the time, they would. Let me just say that, because remarkable stuff. And I like the weather. I think it's been very nice, and I don't see any crisis at all. It's been nicer lately than. And democracy, of course, democracy. And that's because the communists are out of power. And they've taken to arms. They have rifles. They're running people over and dragging federal agents with their automobiles. And they have Democrats assassinating, social and religious leaders, and of course CEOs walking the sidewalks of New York. And then the murderers become the heroes of the Democrat Party. But let's not get carried away with that. Caught up in who killed who and all of that. So, but we've got a lot of news today, as you might imagine, because there was a weekend between Friday and today, since today's Monday and everything, and we still are using, for the most part, the Gregorian calendar. But never mind that. We've got President Trump responds to Team Europe after Ryder Cup winners taunting chant. That's right, the Euros, including Rory McIlroy, doing a little chant. It wasn't very mean-spirited. After they won, the American golfers in the Ryder Cup, not doing the greatest job that we've ever seen. But I was kind of tied up during a lot of it because I was in Chicago and I was busy with stuff over the weekend. But never mind that. The Euros won the Ryder Cup. It's the United States team golf tournament against the European team. And the Europeans pretty much dominated throughout the course of the tournament. And they won yesterday, and the U.S. Team USA lost. And they posted a video. I'll share the audio portion of that with you as we go forward today. And they did post a video of them taunting the President of the United States. And he responded. He responded on Truth Social. So we've got that for you. Also, the Democrats proving who they really are over the weekend. There is a communist, racist, literal communist, obvious racist. They're all Democrat racist. But never mind that, named Assata Shakur. Not her real name, of course, because communists they lie about everything, including their names. But Assata Shakur is a cop killer from way back in New Jersey, black Mau, racist, communist, warlike, like a Democrat, a perfect modern-day Democrat. Long ago, she was convicted of murdering a New Jersey state trooper, and then communists helped her escape from prison in New Jersey, and she fled to communist Cuba, which Barack Obama loves. He loves the communism. He loves the communists. He loves the giant building-sized wall murals of Che Guevara, who was a racist, by the way, and wouldn't let Barack Obama sit at his dinner table with him, if he were not dead, of course. But never mind that. Assata Shakur, who lived out the rest of her life in communist Cuba because it's so much better than the United States. Hero of the Democrat Party, cop killer, criminal, communist, and she died in communist Cuba just the other day, and the Democrat Party jumped up to demonstrate their affinity for Assata Shakur, not her real name, and express their admiration for the cop killer fugitive living out her filthy criminal communist life in communist Cuba, where she was used as a propaganda tool, and she was happy to play that role. So, yeah, Assata Shakur, a fugitive black liberation activist. She was a terrorist sought by U.S. dies in Cuba. That happened over the weekend, and now that wasn't really the headline because over the ensuing hours, the Democrat Party stepped up to praise the cop killer because the whole Democrat Party today is basically a gang of pro cop killing lunatics. They're the left. They're not liberals. They're not the Democrat Party. They're the Communist Party, and they kill cops and they kill CEOs and they shot President Trump through the air and they killed Charlie Kirk and the Democrat Party. Also, lots of violence against ICE, Immigration Customs Enforcement, around the country this weekend. Not limited to, but in particular in Chicago, where I was over the weekend, in Portland, Oregon, because they're the global left, funded and fueled by billionaires who would destroy the world. They worship Satan. They have after-school Satan club for the kids at school. The Democrat Party does. Something terribly wrong with them. But I've got an update for you on that. Oh, yeah, speaking of Assata Shakur, the communist who died in Cuba, who cop killer, escaped, the fugitive cop killer who died in Cuba. The Chicago Teachers Union honored Assata Shakur. They love Assata Shakur, the fugitive, racist, communist cop killer, and the Chicago Teachers Union. They're raising the next generation of rail spurs and gas chambers people, and that's the left in the United States of America. That's one of the really amazing elements in all of this Assata Shakur stuff. The Chicago Teachers Union singing the praises of a woman they never met. They just know that she's a communist fugitive cop killer, and the Chicago Teachers Union, which should be disbanded. But you got communists running the city of Chicago, like let's go Brandon Johnson, who's a former educator. I'm making quotation marks with my fingers. Brainwasher, propagandist, lunatic, probable communist, certainly a socialist. Isn't that amazing? And President Trump, since Chicago and the ICE, the attacks on federal law enforcement, that the Democrat Party is 100% behind. President Trump warns troops will take no nonsense in Chicago, Illinois. There's a lot of nonsense going on there. There should be sense, but instead there's no sense, nonsense. Isn't that amazing? Troops swarm downtown Chicago after Trump deployment. Left-wing media fanning the flames, trying to get the Jew haters to come out with their Molotov cocktails. And they should really get back to self-immolation, shouldn't they? I prefer the self-immolation. Isn't that great? And Oregon, where they keep Portland, and nobody goes there anymore. It's just it's a sad, tragic joke on the world stage, not just the net. And it's violent, and they firebomb federal courthouses, the Mark Hatfield courthouse, police stations. Is that where they created that chop zone where they killed a bunch of people and looted and all the crimes? The Democrat Party is the party of violent crime. There is no doubt about that. And so we got that. Also, New York. New York likes punching women. Have you seen this story? Because a nice lady who's pro-life, she's a very pleasant woman, an African-American woman. She talks to people on the street. She's what they call a social media influencer. And she was talking to another black woman on the sidewalk in New York, and she was asking the woman about having a nice, cordial conversation about being pro-life versus being pro-death. The Democrat Party is pro-death. They love death more than we love life. Al-Qaeda should sue them for stealing their slogan, but the Democrat Party has that now. And the nice lady was talking to a woman on the street, and the woman, just a big, huge old woman, up and sucker punched the nice lady, the pro-life lady, punched her in the face, really big, like a Joe Frazier punch from this big old woman. And then a second punch, first a right hand to the middle of the face, then a left hand across the jaw. And this lady was the puncher. she was arrested and she was charged. But then very quietly, the communist prosecutor who's pro-criminal and pro-crime in New York City, Alvin Bragg, who is a George Soros minion, he dropped quietly, don't say anything, dropped the charges against the criminal because she only violently attacked a pro-life lady. And you know how they are about that. In Washington, D.C., a 75-year-old grandmother was praying outside of an abortion clinic, and the Democrats put her in prison for 2 years because she was praying outside of an abortion clinic. Oh, she violated the FACE Act because she was allegedly blocking the entrance to an abortion clinic where in Washington they're killing all the black babies and harvesting their organs. And the Democrats applaud that because you know how they are. Yeah, so the New York City woman who sucker punched a pro-life activist won't be prosecuted as Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg's office admits botching case. Now, this is their lie. This is their cover story. Oops, they botched it. The lawyer they put in charge was not an attorney. He had graduated from law school but not taken or passed, at least passed. Maybe he took the bar exam and failed it, but he's not an actual attorney bar certified. He's just a law school graduate. They put him in charge, and oops, forgot to file that. So now it's got to be dropped because the communists are running New York City, and they're going to vote for and elect a communist jihadi who wants to kill all the Jews and then steal all their stuff. He steal all their stuff because he's a communist. You know, that's what the communists do. And they're going to elect Mamdani the Kami because he's actually Mamdani the jihadi Kami, right? You should go with Kami first or jihadi first. The Kami jihadi or the jihadi Kami. But this is the Democrat Party today. They're pro-Hamas, and they want to wipe the Jews off the face of the earth from the river to the sea in Israel because you can't go around having a state like Israel where they have civilization. You need more Hamas, Hezbollah, ISIS. The Democrat Party is in bed with them. Isn't that amazing? Yes, it is. Also, ICE, Immigration Customs Enforcement, arrests criminal illegal alien serving as the Des Moines, Iowa, no less, Des Moines Public Schools superintendent. Right, sure, no problem. Isn't that great? Prior weapons charges and in possession of a loaded handgun at the time of his arrest. See, the illegal alien criminal. And now the Democrats in Iowa are fighting for the gun-toting illegal alien who's the superintendent of schools in Des Moines. And the only possible explanation for that is quite simple. Democrats. That's Democrats. But this is pretty amazing. Yeah, he's the superintendent of schools, not of New York or Washington, D.C., where you have criminals everywhere, but in Des Moines, Iowa. And I've heard the Democrats there yelling angrily and pounding the table that they want the gun-toting illegal alien to be free and to continue to have access to the children and their education. Isn't that amazing? Yes, sir. Yep, Ian Roberts. That's amazing stuff. So we've got that. Also in Chicago, ICE, Immigration Customs Enforcement, Chicago Operation Midway Blitz. Got the update on that. Protester detained near the Broadview ICE facility. This was several days ago, carrying a gun, because that's the thing with the Democrat Party. Department of Homeland Security says. But then, fast forward 2 more days, police confiscate 2 guns, possible explosive device, amid Chicago ICE riot. And again, the Democrat Party is rioting. It's not January 6th. Of course, they're actually killing people other than Ashley Babbitt here, and stealing and burning and everything else. Isn't that amazing? Also in Michigan, a Mormon church was attacked yesterday, Sunday, during services by a lunatic who murdered 4 people with his gun and wounded, I believe, 8 more, some of whom remain in critical condition at this point and may add to the number of killed. And then the gunman, after committing all these murders, set the church on fire, cans of gasoline, and burned the entire gigantic complex, burned it to the ground. There may still be more people inside that were killed by the fire and that have not been recovered yet. The killer, the gunman, was shot and killed by the police. And now the news media, they say, whoa, he was a Marine Corps veteran, and that's why he did it. And that's their entire explanation. That's good enough for the media because they're anti-U.S. military. they think that we should have an entirely transgender military. Yes, sir. Also, the White House over the weekend released a list of political agitators. That's got to be a long list, doesn't it? A very long list of Democrats and the madness that they sow in the United States of America in 2025. Deadly assault on ICE field office in Dallas, Texas, now being tied to years of inflammatory rhetoric coming from top Democrats. That's elected Democrats on a national level, on a state level, on a city level across the country, inciting a civil war is basically what they're inciting. Officials say a gunman with anti-ICE ammunition specifically targeted federal agents. You know about this story. We talked about it last week. The Trump administration points to a staggering 1,000% surge in assaults on ICE personnel and arguing the escalation mirrors the language of elected Democrats. And, calling agents Gestapo and slave patrol, that's just the members of Congress, Democrat members of Congress. So I've got scratching the surface on some of the items we have for you today. There are a great many more because Democrats never sleep. We think it might be the cocaine, the reason they never sleep, but we've got that. Also, NBC Entertainment, their Law and Order show, depicts ICE agents as terrible villains who must be stopped. That's NBC Network. They're going to take away their FCC license. This is a peculiar time in America. I'll try to make sense of it as we progress today. All right, let's go to the telephones. Well, gosh, look at the time. I have so little time. I don't want to go to you on the phones because I don't have enough time right now, but I will. We did just get a call from Steve, right? From Steve, is that correct, Jeff? And directed us to a great story, the Gateway Pundit, an important story. Gateway Pundit has a story, the alleged, dead now, Mormon church shooter, the gunman identified. 42-year-old military veteran, that's true, and that's how the news media is identifying him. Reportedly has anti-Trump, anti-Pence sign on his fence attached to his garage. And so you got another lunatic lefty attacking another church. And the zeal, the Trump derangement syndrome, claims more lives, and the Democrat Party gets more people killed with their rhetoric. A Mormon church attacked by the gunman, the church burned to the ground. Grand Blanc, Michigan. And, yeah, that's right. The Democrat Party just wants to he's a troubled military veteran. No, that he left the military, how many years ago now? The Democrats have a guy running for Senate in Michigan. His name is Abdul El-Sayed, and Abdul El-Sayed, originally from Egypt. He wants to make Michigan a no-go zone for non-Muslims and, bring the jihad to the middle of it. He's a Soros guy, of course, and the Democrat Party is here to destroy everything. Say destroy what? The answer is everything. And I want to go to the phones at 888-630-9625. But again, the Gateway Pundit and the New York Post have actual reporting on the Michigan Mormon church attack. The alleged Mormon church shooter identified, the gunman, the murderer, 42-year-old military vet. He served 4 years in the Marine Corps, and he left in 2008. 2008. That was a long time ago. Isn't that when Barack Obama was first nominated by the Democrats to be their candidate and then became the 2008? And that's when he left the Marine Corps, not when he entered the Marine Corps. Served in Iraq as a vehicle maintenance guy, not a necessarily pointy end of the spear guy, but he served in Iraq. And the update here is that the Gateway Pundit has. This morning, only moments after the violent attack on churchgoers in Grand Blanc, Michigan, the Gateway Pundit reported about the incident. At the time of the incident, very little was known about the gunman who opened fire at the Church of Jesus Christ of the Latter-day Saints. And the early reports claimed that 6 to 8 victims of the gunman had been taken to the hospital. Although the exact numbers, we've got 4 dead for sure now, and more may die because they were left in the burning building that he set on fire. At least 8 additional people were shot. In addition to the 4 that were shot and killed, 8 were shot and wounded. And it turns out that the guy, according to this reporting, has an anti-Trump, J.D. Vance sign on his fence at home. Is that going to be a problem for the Democrats? No, they'll just leave it out of the reporting because that's what they do, and then they'll stop talking about it tomorrow because this has become so commonplace. But law enforcement confirmed that investigators were stationed outside of the guy's house. His name is Sanford, and it's been cordoned off, the home. Property records show that Sanford was the owner of both the residence in 2008 and the GMC Sierra pickup truck, same vehicle that was used to ram the church during the attack. The New York Post reported that a Facebook post by the killer Sanford's mother says that the gunman served in Iraq from 2004 to 2008, so that may or may not be correct. But again, 2008 is how long ago now? Let's say 2018, and that's 17 years ago. 2008, the year that Barack Obama became the Democrat Party's nominee for the presidency, and then he was elected to the presidency because we're such a racist country that we elected Barack Hussein Obama twice to the White House. But never mind that. I didn't vote for him, just for the record. But that said, so his mother says he served in the Marine Corps and that he left the Marine Corps 17 years ago. I saw the news media today just looking forlorn. Oh, poor veterans, poor veterans. They didn't mention the anti-Trump, anti-Vance sign. And sources told the New York Post that authorities found several improvised explosive devices on church property. And the bomb squad had been called in to investigate. I got to tell you, they just crazy. The Gateway Pundit looked up the alleged gunman's home address and found a Trump-Vance sign wedged behind a stop sign on what appeared to be his property. And according to records, they say it's his property. And so you got another anti-Trump, anti-Vance lunatic. He's in Michigan. He attacked the Mormon church. He gunned people down. He set it on fire. It was a suicide attack. He waited until the police came. He got in a gunfight with them. They were forced to shoot him and kill him in order to at least reduce the amount of mayhem and death that he was bringing. Just amazing stuff. Many on social media claim the shooter, the gunman, has a history of criticizing President Trump. No kidding. But the Gateway Pundit says that they couldn't find any evidence of that on when they went looking for him on Al Gore's amazing internet. But this is rather a big deal, and yet another mass shooting. And there was another mass murder over the weekend as well at a nice waterfront restaurant where a crazy person came up on a boat and opened fire on people having a great time on, an outside deck at a restaurant. And it was a beautiful place and a wonderful day. And a gunman opened and killed 3 and wounded many more there. The madness in this country, and I tell you, there was an FBI agent former FBI agent on the television early this morning talking about how law enforcement can't solve our problems in the United States. The problems that we have in the United States now are beyond the abilities of law enforcement to solve, that we are suffering from a cultural sickness that goes way beyond law enforcement. And honestly, so the suicide attack in Michigan on the Mormon church, the news media wants to blame it on the Marine Corps and the U.S. military. but they're going to overlook the anti-Trump, anti-Pence church attack, Mormon church attack. Never mind that. The state of our country right now, not good. And the other shooting that I mentioned, suspect dies after shooting involving deputies in Greenville County, the coroner says. And this is quite wild. According to the coroner, Johnny Ray Moore, 44 years old, died just before 2:45 p.m. Sunday at a hospital. Suffered at least one gunshot wound in the shooting. And this is, it's madness. We've got a lot of craziness going on in the United States of America. And explaining it is not going to be easy. But we got, who do we got? We got Eric Swalwell today, who is out there parroting what his Chinese controllers are instructing him to say. Let's go. I talked about going to the phones. Let's go to the phones at 888-630-9625. Let's go to Chris calling from New Jersey. Christopher, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Chris, yeah. So what I was telling your screener was a great chart for the Democrats is Trump says, hey, we will stop, or we're not stop, but we will slow down deporting non-criminal illegal aliens if the Democrats will back legislation to not include illegal aliens in the census.
Do you think they'd accept that?
Well, they probably not. They can't, right? Everyone knows they can't, but it's a great, it costs us nothing to do it, and it costs them a lot to show, look, this is the difference. These guys don't actually care about illegal aliens. They care about the what do you call it, the number of seats and electoral votes they get because of those illegal aliens, and has nothing to do with caring.
Well, that is a fact, and exposing them. But then you have to, and this is how corrupt we've become as a culture. And then the news media simply won't report it, or they'll report that the Republicans are the bad guys here. And this is, I've talked about this before, Chris, and that is the Democrats want to, rack up. They were the ones allowing, 12 million illegals across our southern border and giving them plane tickets and bus rides around the country to locations that the Democrats determined would benefit the Democrats the most, of course. And then this is one of the things I've suggested, Chris. The Republicans should say, all right, Democrats, we'll let you count the illegals in the census so that you can increase your representation in the House of Representatives. But we'll only allow you to count them as 3/5 of a person, because the Democrats counted slaves as 3/5 of a person for the same reason, to get more seats in the House of Representatives. And now they've got the illegal aliens, their new cheap labor that, no political power. And the Democrats use them as free or cheap labor because they are the party of slavery and the bullwhip, and this is what they do. But your idea is a good one, Chris.
It would be perfect. It would be perfect for the Republicans to just put this legislation, this bill out there, let them vote against it going into next year, and the ads that can be made off of it. I think it would be compelling.
No, you're right. I agree with you very much that because it exposes them, it reveals them to be what they are.
Right.
And that's your diabolical plan.
Yes.
Very good. It's ingenious, Chris, and I'm glad you called in with it. It's good stuff. Thank you, Chris. Have a great New Jersey day, would you?
You too.
All right. Thanks, buddy. Thanks. That's great. Let me get back to this other one, too. And this one is in North Carolina, Southport, North Carolina. And suspect held after allegedly firing from boat into waterfront bar in North Carolina. 3 people were killed and 5 wounded in, of all places, Southport, North Carolina, on Saturday night, when police say a gunman attacked a bar from the water, driving his boat up alongside an open dock front bar and opening fire. Nigel Edge was arrested Saturday on charges including first-degree murder and what police are calling a premeditated attack. The suspect fled the scene, motoring his boat toward the intracoastal waterway. Half an hour after the shooting at 10 p.m., the Coast Guard observed a single individual matching the description of the shooter loading their boat at a public boat ramp, and the Southport Police Chief Todd Coring said. And the man was arrested. The attack took place at the American Fish Company. It's a bar and live music venue on the water. Looks like a beautiful place by the pictures. Wonderful place. Police are asking anyone who witnessed shooting to contact them. And this is, yet another one. And the gunman, Edge, and this is according to National Panhandler Radio, no less, Edge had changed his name from Sean DeBevoise. Sean DeBevoise, according to Southport Public Information Officer Cheyenne Ketchum, citing the district attorney's investigation. Now, this is pretty amazing stuff. Now, here comes the news media again. The NPR says the Defense Department confirmed in an email to NPR that DeBevoise is a decorated combat veteran who served in Iraq 2005 and 2006 and was awarded the Purple Heart. Well, we're going to have to take a look at that. Pretty amazing stuff. So he changed his name, claims that he was a Marine that served in Iraq. Hey, wait a minute. The guy that shot up the church in Michigan was, his mother says, a Marine that served in Iraq. I got to tell you, the world has gone mad. It truly has gone mad. Certainly our country has. And, with that, Michael, I've got to say, the FBI agent that was on this morning, he got my attention. I was watching this morning. This was, I guess, the 6 a.m. hour, not the 5 a.m. hour on the Fox News channel. And boy, oh boy, they were talking about the church shooting in Michigan, and former FBI agent Stuart Kaplan was just looking forlorn and making sense. And the former FBI agent Stuart Kaplan this morning on the state of the country, not just crime and accountability and punishment, but the state of the country, former FBI agent Stuart Kaplan.
Our law enforcement community can no longer be the gatekeeper to ensure our safety. As a nation, we are absolutely in a crisis. The erosion of American values and moral standards are front and center. The fact after this incident there were multiple bomb threats called in tells me that people are on the sideline basically applauding and cheering what played out yesterday.
And who would that be applauding and cheering? Well, the same people that applauded and cheered when Charlie Kirk was murdered, assassinated. Same people that applauded when a CEO in New York was gunned down by Luigi Mangione in an assassination of a random CEO of a healthcare insurance company. This all goes to the Democrat Party, to their teachings, to their rhetoric, and beyond. I've got more from the FBI agent here because he got my attention this morning. I got a couple more sound bites from him that I'd like to share with you. And we remain at 888-630-9625. All right, let's go to the telephones, Michael. I want to get back to the FBI agent, former FBI agent Stuart Kaplan, who I thought was very strong and made good sense today, telling the truth. Nothing gets you in trouble like the truth. But let's go to everywhere you look, every state, there's madness. Let's go to Greg, calling from Bethesda, Maryland. Greg, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Hello, Chris. Thanks for taking my call.
You betcha.
Yeah, I was just calling in because you're talking about this illegal alien, the unlawful person who was here, superintendent of Des Moines, making Des Moines public schools, making $270,000 or $230,000 a year. Per what I've read online, he had a Maryland ID, a Social Security card that he got somewhere in New York. He lied on his I-9, and I think he's registered to vote in the state of Maryland.
Yeah, I'm seeing all the same things, and I saw your name up on the big board, and you talked to Jeff, and yeah, it turns out he was a school superintendent in the state of Maryland, and he apparently has a Maryland driver's license. The whole time he was in Iowa, Maryland driver's license. He then became a high school superintendent or a school principal in Washington, D.C., and Anacostia, which the report notes is an all-black school. And he was named the educator or the principal of the year by the George Washington University Democrats in Washington, D.C. And illegally, and he actually participated in the Olympics, the global sporting competition, when 2000, in the year 2000. And he was a runner, and he came in second to last. But he's from Guyana in South America. Where they had Jonestown and things like that. But you're right. I don't know if he had anything to do with Jonestown, but that's where he's from. And it's true. And apparently he's got gun charges. He was arrested for carrying a gun, illegal alien in Iowa. And the Democrats are yelling, well, you're allowed to carry a gun in Iowa. Not when you're an illegal alien, but never mind that. They're pretty amazing people, aren't they, Greg?
Yeah. So much for not having, they always say no illegal aliens on the voter rolls. So much for that, right? I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, Maryland needs its voter rolls cleaned, with a harsh scrub. We need DOJ to get in there and scrub these things because there's all types of people on the voter rolls here that should not be on there.
Need a good hosing down, a good disinfectant and hosing down. Good old scrubbing, I think. Yeah, you're 100% right, of course, Greg. Yeah, so this is the guy, school superintendent, and of all places, Des Moines, Iowa. An illegal alien, gun charges. He's been traveling around being a school principal and superintendent because of Democrats.